Ciao Milanisti, it's your boy Kush in the Milan corner. 3 days of celebration complete. It's now time to officially wrap up the season with the season ratings. We got some detailed stats of this championship winning squad, a couple of controversies during the championship celebration that I have to address. So let's just kick this off, guys. You know how the rating scale works. Sell the player, flop, decent performance, very good performance, MVP candidate. Kicking this off with our goalkeeper, guys. MAIGNAN is the Serie A goalkeeper of the season. 17 clean sheets for this guy. 3 consecutive clean sheets leader, twice in Liga and this time in Serie A. This season, MAIGNAN had 219 passes longer than 40 yards out. In his career, he's never even hit more than 180. You know what that means, guys? He's improved his passing drastically this season, and it showed in the assist he made for Rafael Leao. And for his 17 clean sheets, Serie A goalkeeper of the season, increase in value, MAIGNAN is an MVP candidate for this season. And here's where I kind of want to talk about that controversy during Milan celebration. They had a lot of things to say about Hakan Çalhanoğlu. And obviously a lot of Interisti are taking this very personally. They're so offended. But here's what I want to remind these guys. It's not about Inter. It's about Hakan Çalhanoğlu. There's another player who left us. His name is Gianluigi Donnarumma. Did any other players talk about him during the trophy celebration? No. Hakan Çalhanoğlu was a selfish player, and I believe he was toxic in the locker room. I think Zlatan Ibrahimovic drove Hakan Çalhanoğlu out of Milan. And that selfishness shows in this video right here. Guys, look at this. This is a video from the end of last season. Look at the way Brahim Diaz is celebrating the Champions League qualification as if he's been at Milan for like the past 10 seasons.
Per voi, questo è per voi. Per voi, per tutti voi. Per nostros tifosi, dai.
Look at when he brings the camera to Hakan Çalhanoğlu. There's a dishonesty in his eyes. He doesn't even seem excited that Milan made the Champions League.
Per nostros tifosi, dai. Finalmente. Per voi, finalmente, dai.
Then you look at someone like Diogo Dalot. Diogo Dalot was also on loan at Milan. He didn't even get to play in the Champions League this season with Milan. And look at the excitement that is in Dalot's behavior. This is case in point why Milan fans and the Milan team cannot stand this dude. And at the same time, for every Interisti who's being so sensitive about Milan celebration, and I just want to take you through a few pictures. This was Materazzi wearing Silvio Berlusconi's mask when Inter won the championship. This was a banner that Inter players held up against Ambrosini after winning the title. Here's an olive branch that I'll extend to Inter fans. Guys, let's just be happy. For the past, decade we watched Juventus win the league? Last 2 seasons, the Milan clubs are back. Let's just be excited about that and make this rivalry what it used to be. Let's start now fighting each other in the Champions League. Guys, this is the day that Ronaldinho joined Milan, but this is not the day that only Ronaldinho made his debut for Milan. There's someone else in the crowd that made his debut for Milan, but I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna first go to our beautiful sponsors. Once again, big thank you to OneFootball for sponsoring this video. Obviously, guys, there's a lot to explore in the OneFootball app. This is the article that kind of caught my eye. Liverpool players train with brain sensors ahead of the Real Madrid match. Liverpool are training in 2050 right now. Guys, if you go back and you go into the Milan section, well, here's all the good news about Milan. The tactical positions, the Sempre Milan articles, everything's right here, guys. Milan could build new stadium without Inter. This is exactly what Milan needs to create that new revenue stream. Hopefully with the new ownership group, that's exactly what's gonna happen. But guys, if you want any football news, you know exactly where to get it. Download the OneFootball app. The link is in the description. Now going back to that Ronaldinho clip, that day it wasn't just Ronaldinho who made his debut for Milan. There was another guy sitting right there. That is this guy, the guy lifting the trophy today. That was Davide Calabria back in 2008 as a youth player for Milan. Now led his team to a championship in the final match of the season. That is an incredible story, and that youth player is now approaching 200 appearances for Milan. Current value has also gone up for Davide Calabria, but I'll be honest, guys, I don't think he had his best season. Because he was a leader of the team on the field in the absence of Romagnoli, I'm gonna have to call it very good, but we have a higher expectation from Davide Calabria for sure. Guys, MAIGNAN was injured for about 2 months. Tatarusanu kind of took care of things. He got that penalty stop against Inter, which was consequential in winning the title. So for everything that Tatarusanu has done, I'm gonna have to give him a decent rating. Got to lift a Serie A title with Milan. Moving on to Ficaio Tomori, guys, the leader in pretty much all defensive stats for Milan. This player has solidified himself as a leader in our backline. Whoever comes in next season as a center back, Ficaio Tomori is gonna be right there. A masterstroke by Paolo Maldini, finding him from Chelsea, 28 million signing, worth probably close to 50 million now. Ficaio Tomori is our second MVP candidate, which brings us to his defensive partner in Pierre KALULU. Guys, that match against Napoli, I think everything changed. When we watched Pierre KALULU and Ficaio Tomori take on Osimhen, pretty much Milan fans knew that there's something special happening between these two players. 480,000 euro signing is now worth more than 20 million. And amongst all top 5 leagues in Europe, Pierre KALULU had the most tackles on players dribbling past him. And for his incredible turnaround, Pierre KALULU unquestionably is a most improved player nominee for this season. I know you guys are gonna kill me for this. I can't give Theo Hernandez a very good rating. I'm gonna have to call Theo's season a decent season. Guys, let me read out some numbers for you. Theo Hernandez has been here for 3 seasons. This was his lowest number of passes in 3 seasons, lowest goals in 3 seasons. His pass leading to a shot, this is a critical statistic because of the movements that Theo makes. His pass leading to a shot 2 seasons ago was 67 passes. Last season was 57. This season was 48. There is a visible decline in Theo Hernandez's ability to create assists for other players. And for a player whose value has skyrocketed from 20 million to 70 million before the start of the season, PSG wanted him for 70 million. We need more. Guys, Florenzi came and did what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to be a decent backup and option for Milan when the other players were injured or tired, and he kind of did that. He scored an important goal against Verona, I think. A childhood Milan fan, wins the title with Milan, so I would call it a very good season for Florenzi. Fode Ballo-Touré, on the other hand, guys, it was a little bit of a disappointment. I'm gonna have to unfortunately call him a flop. Guys, we haven't really seen Kier play since December 1st, so I'm just gonna have to call his season decent because when he was playing pretty well. Alessio Romagnoli, on the other hand, I have to give him a poor rating. I had a conversation with Milan Club Toronto, Frank from Milan Club Toronto. He made a really good point. He said that Alessio Romagnoli, in his contract year, he was supposed to try and fight for a new contract. He pretty much gave up his spot to Kier and KALULU and Tomori. And as the captain of the club, he should have done better. His performances should have done better. He's gotten slow. He's just not the same player. We have players of higher quality now. So unfortunately, it looks like Romagnoli's time at Milan is over. You know what? If Kier gets injured, if Romagnoli is not playing well, really Gabbia should have been that guy partnering up with Fikayo Tomori. But KALULU took that spot, so that pretty much tells you how good Pierre KALULU must have been in training for Pioli. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to give Gabbia a flop as well. Tonali was in the top 3 amongst all passing statistics for the team. He was supposed to join Milan from Brescia for about 35 million. Paolo Maldini's genius negotiated that price down after a poor first season, brought him in for about 20 million. His current value now sits close to 50 million. And for this transformation from last season to this season, Tonali is one of the most improved player nominees. That goal that Benacer scored against Cagliari on the volley, guys, that was probably one of the goals of the season nominees. And here's the thing with Ismail, his statistics were pretty quiet, but that's the beauty about this player. He just quietly gets the job done. He's that solid figure. And here's a fascinating thing about Ismail Benacer's journey with Milan to this title. He didn't really want to come here. He wasn't convinced by Milan's project. It was Empoli's CEO and Paolo Maldini, both who convinced Ismail to join Milan. And as usual, a high quality season from Benacer. I'm gonna have to give him a very good rating. Guys, the 2 things that we rely on Kessie for is his defensive presence and his ability to pass the ball. He had the least blocks this season of his last 5 seasons with Milan, 2nd lowest tackles in 5 seasons, least passes completed in 5 seasons. He still had about 35 plus appearances for us, but Franck Kessie had pretty much checked out. In the last penultimate 5 to 7 games of the season, he really picked up his game. He scored the final goal of Milan's season this year, just like he did last season. He helped us get back into the Champions League, guided us in the last at least 5 to 7 games to the Serie A title. But for this season, Franck Kessie gets a decent rating. Which brings us to Timo Bakayoko, guys. This story always frustrates me because Bakayoko's first time with Milan was actually also pretty bad initially, when Milan was almost going to end his loan and send him back to Chelsea. But in the second half of the season, he really transformed into a different player. He was a really, really good partner with Franck Kessie. But in a team that has Ismail Benacer working at high quality, Sandro Tonali showing the performances that he has, Bakayoko really didn't have any space. The performances that he got to put in, he wasn't really that good. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to call Bakayoko's season a flop. Alexis had 36 appearances for Milan, the highest appearances alongside, I think, Sandro Tonali, but they weren't really the best appearances. He had the lowest goals and assists in his 3 seasons at Milan, lowest pass completion in 3 seasons. And for Alexis's performances this season, I'm gonna have to give him a flop. Guys, this is a pretty impressive statistic from Junior Macias. He had the 3rd highest number of shots on target after Giroud and Rafael Leao. He didn't really have a bad season. And those 2 crucial assists, one against Atalanta and the other assist for Florenzi, these 2 assists were critical, in my opinion, in getting us the title. So I'm gonna have to give Macias a decent rating for this season. Guys, Castillejo was involved in 2 critical goals against Verona. When you win the title by 2 points, every single goal, every single help matters. Obviously, this Mercato, Samu Castillejo will 100% get moved, but I'm kind of happy he got to win the title with us. Which brings us to the 3 guys behind the striker. That's going to be Brahim Diaz, Rade Krunic, and Daniel Maldini. Guys, Brahim Diaz at the beginning of the season was an important player, but He didn't have a good season at all. It was a complete flop. Rade Krunic. Now, this is one part that I'm excited about. Guys, Krunic has been an excellent servant to this team. You know, Krunic already talked about the fact that he knows that there are players that are more skilled than him, but he still wants to contribute in any way that he possibly can. And moving forward, I think Krunic just continue to stay at Milan. Pioli likes his presence. He's a good quality role player. He's fairly reliable behind the striker. And for that reason, I'm going to give Rade Krunic a lot of love. And for his role and for his acceptance of his role at this club, I'm going to give him a very good rating. That winning goal from Maldini got us to 3 points, and he also became the third generation Maldini to lift the Serie A title. And for me, with Maldini, with his important contribution against Spezia, I'm going to have to give him a decent rating for the season. Guys, this is an easy one. It's Rafael Leao, the MVP of the season. Most goals for Milan, most assists for Milan. He dribbled the ball past 106 players, which is the 5th most in the top 5 leagues in Europe. Guys, for the last 2 seasons, Rebic in the second half of the season has been excellent. He scored 10 plus goals in the second half, consecutive years. This time around, Rebic just wasn't the guy that we've expected him to be, and it looks like Milan might actually be moving him this mercato. So unfortunately, and this hurts me to do it because Rebic is a pretty good player, I'm gonna have to give him a flop for this season. The expectation just didn't meet the reality, and Olivier Giroud carried this team in the front. Which brings us to our man Olivier, the most goals scored for this season for the team. 14 goals, scored 2 consequential goals in the final match against Sassuolo. So guys, Olivier Giroud for me is one of the MVP candidates. And let's end the video of the season ratings with the legend, the icon, the lion himself in Zlatan Ibrahimovic. This is the reason why this team has turned into what it has turned into. And here's the best part about Ibrahimovic. For the first 2 seasons, he really carried us in the strike department. This season, the year that we actually won the Serie A title, he wasn't really that much on the pitch, which tells you it was a team win. It wasn't just one guy carrying us. At the same time, when he did play, guys, Ibrahimovic is the highest goal scorer amongst the top 5 leagues amongst players who've played less than 1,050 minutes. He did all of this while being 40 years old and playing without an ACL in his left knee for 6 months. Zlatan is the reason why we are Serie A champions, and he doesn't really need to be an MVP nominee because he has legendary status at this club now. 5 MVP nominees, guys. If you look at these players in their positions, this is why we won the Serie A title. We had a player in every single role, but guys, I think it is pretty obvious. I really tried to see if I could find another MVP in this lineup, but it's Rafael Leao. He is the most valuable player of this season, and he really solidified that MVP status with his 3 assists in the final match. Didn't score, just led the team in attack. And amongst the most improved player of the season, we have Kalulu, we have Sandro Tonali, and Rafael Leao. Guys, it feels almost silly to give it to somebody except for Rafael Leao since he's already the MVP, but here's my criteria for the most improved player. Milan paid a lot of money for Leao. When Milan brought in Sandro Tonali, he was gonna cost us 35 million. He was one of the most sought after midfielders in all of Italy. But who was Pierre Kalulu? Pierre Kalulu was a 480,000 euro purchase, a player we didn't even think was going to be a starter. Guys, that's my most improved player for this season. What do you think, guys? Who would be your MVP amongst these nominees? Who is your most improved player? Make sure to let me know in the comment section. A lot more content coming in, a lot of Mercato stuff's going to be happening. I might actually even start talking about some other teams in the summertime. And make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the bell notification so you can watch the Milan Corner videos as soon as I upload them. And as always, Forza Milan! Grazie mille e ciao tutti!